I'm going to hit record right now. So this is being recorded for everybody, just so everyone knows. And welcome. My name is Rachel, and I have another host with us. See if he's unmuted. Yep.
Hi, everyone. Corey.
Hi. So some of you might know us. We work with Up in PC with the Teen Summit. We do some work with the Youth Council as well, and the Incorruptible Us groups. A little bit about us on this slide. We work for Partners in Prevention, specifically the Lindsay Meyer Teen Institute. Corey, I don't know if you wanted to share anything about yourself before we jump in, because I'm still kind of admitting people in.
Let's see. I've been making my own cold brew at home. That's my biggest accomplishment over the past 3 weeks, I guess. I have some right here. So to all my fellow coffee drinkers,
I love
that's
that.
the highlight of my life right now.
Awesome. And yeah, I don't think I've done something as productive as that, but you know, I am enjoying all of the Zoom meetings, and I hope
meeting.
And I hope that, sorry, I'm just muting everybody. I hope that you learned something today. Like I said, if you have any questions at all during, just unmute yourself and ask or type in the chat. So without further ado, let's Zoom. I don't know if everybody knows this show or not. It was one of those all access television shows for a long time. So there's going to be a lot of Zoom jokes about it. So buckle up. All right. So my first question is, who has joined a Zoom meeting or webinar before? And I'm going to launch a little poll here. So a poll should have just popped up on your screen, and you can participate in that. Who has joined a Zoom for a meeting or webinar before? Perfect. Results are flying in. Somebody's not even on this one right now. Oh, man. Okay, I'll give you a few more seconds just so I can kind of see where we're working with. Okay, another minute. Well, time is made up. I won't give you a full minute. I'll give you like 10 more seconds. Okay. So ending the poll, and let me share these results with you. So, okay, most of you have. 18 of you have done this before. First time for a couple people, and some still have never been on there. And that's okay. So you might have joined a Zoom before, but I'm curious now. We will launch our second poll here. Who has used Zoom as a facilitator before? Okay, about half of you voted. 10 more seconds.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. I don't think she wants me to. But
let's share these results here.
Okay, good.
So,
Great. Close it.
So yeah, almost 50-50. Okay, so hopefully we'll learn some tricks and tips today for what you can do if you're hosting a Zoom or you're working to engage your adults or youth in these meetings. So let's jump on. I'm gonna toss it to, oh, you all have now, so let's get going. Corey, I'm gonna toss it to you for our sign up here.
Yeah, sure. So I'm hoping everyone can hear me all right. I'm on my phone and computer doing a little dual action due to my computer issues right now. So yeah, to create a Zoom account, it's free. A lot of people, including myself, don't realize that at first, because when you're just joining Zoom, all you have to do is click the link and you join it. So I actually didn't have an account for quite some time, but really it takes 5 seconds. You just go to the website, zoom.com or zoom.us. They'll both bring you to the same page, and you just click sign up. You don't have to give too much information. It's pretty much just an email, make a password, and then you know, it kind of just saves you there, so it'll easier use when you have to join meetings.
Yeah, there's a couple differences here between that free account and a licensed paid account. So your free account, you can still host meetings with up to 100 people. The real downside of the free account is that if you have 3 or more participants join, the meeting time cuts out after 40 minutes. So if you're trying to do longer meetings, you might just have to plan a break in between and have 2 different links, part 1, part 2, something like that. But just know if you're on the free version and hosting, after 40 minutes with 3 people, it will totally close out.
And just one note about this, because most agencies or companies will have like a yearly paid account, but they do offer like monthly subscriptions as well. Because I know this month and however many of the next upcoming months might be, you might be wanting to use Zoom more than you do normally. So I want to say it's $14.99 a month for the monthly feature. I'm not 100% sure, but that's something that is, could be cost effective for agencies or any company looking to use Zoom more on a month-by-month basis. And then when things start to get back to normal and everyone's doing in-person meetings again, you don't have to worry about that yearly fee still being tacked on.
Definitely. That free version again doesn't have as many bells and whistles. So if you're trying to host a larger conference for over 100 people, you can't get those add-ons. There's no polling. But yeah, the paid version, like Corey said, it's pretty affordable for that month-by-month rate. There's no time limit for your calls, so you're not getting kicked out in the middle.
Little loophole that Rachel and I kind of figured out, though, if you do have to use the free one, which again, you wouldn't want to do this if you're recording a webinar or something, but something more casual. If you do go over that 40 minutes, it will kick you off. You can just restart the same meeting. So if it's like your team meeting or something more casual, you can just restart the meeting. It only takes like 30 seconds to do, and then you're right back on the call for another 40 minutes. Again, not something I would advise doing for something that involves people outside of your closer workspace, but just something that is out there if need be.
Yeah, totally. I can't tell you how many times I've had to relaunch for personal stuff like that. Some other bells and whistles: you can record to the Zoom cloud. You can assign others to schedule meetings, and you can even customize personal links. So if you do end up getting that paid version for yourself, I definitely recommend checking out the website and seeing what all those perks are. So how do you schedule a meeting? First step, we're going to kind of go through the different sections, and once we have all the Zoom questions answered, we'll get to some activities and stuff that you could be doing with your youth or whoever you're meeting with. But I'm just going to kind of share this video and narrate as it goes along. So if you're on the webpage, it's very simple. You just log right in. There's scheduled a meeting at the top, and there's also meetings on the side. Right there, schedule a meeting. Pretty simple.
Rachel? Sorry to cut you off. Shireen just sent something in the chat. More people are signing on, so can you please stall?
Oh.
Hi, Rachel.
Hi.
Can you hear me? I wasn't sure if you had muted everybody.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I have 20 different windows open, so I see the chat and the managing everybody. Yeah.
I've just had a couple of people emailing me as you're talking, and they're still trying to log on. So if it's possible just to give it a few more minutes. I think a lot of people this is just new to, and then a lot of people just randomly asking for the login at this moment. I'm trying to see if they're on. Yeah, one of them is on that just emailed me. Another one is on. Tanae is on. Okay. Okay, good. So I think you're good to go.
Okay, awesome.
Sorry. Thank you.
No worries. So yeah, scheduling meeting. Once you've signed up, this is the first step. So let me go back. Sorry about that. So if you're on the webpage, just go to your account. You can either hit schedule a meeting right at the top, but for some reason, when I was doing the screen recording, I hit it on the side. Just hit schedule a meeting. You can type in the title of it, a description if you want. You set the time and date, how long it will be. If you want to require a meeting password, you can do that. If you know what you're meeting about is really sensitive, or if you're posting the link.
Yes, may I help you?
If you're posting the link in public, you're definitely going to want to have that meeting password. There's been a lot of different instances where colleges and schools have been having people who are not supposed to be in the Zooms joining, so the password is helpful if you are meeting about something like that. And then, sorry. You can also enable video or webinar to be on or off automatically. And then I like to enable the waiting room. That's everybody who joined was in that before I accepted them in here. It's just another way to be secure.
Rachel, sorry to cut you off again, but somebody asked in the chat, possible to enlarge your images.
Let's see.
So if you go to on the top of your screen, there's a, if you hover, it should say view options for anybody watching, and you can click to enlarge up to 300%. It's not the super clearest way, but you can kind of zoom in that way as well, as opposed to what Rachel's doing too.
Thank you.
And by the way, I should have said this before. This PowerPoint, the PDF of it, and all the documents that we talk about, you'll get them emailed to you as well. Because I know this can kind of be a lot if it's if you've never used Zoom before, if you're kind of new to it. So yeah, if you have questions, keep them coming in the chat, and you will definitely get all of this later. So yeah, pretty straightforward. If you're on the website, you'll see where it says schedule a meeting. If you wanted to hold a call without video for whatever reason, you can allow that. This is exactly the screen that the video was on. So hopefully this is a little clearer to see. You can set it right here so the video is off for everybody if it's just a call. Yeah, pretty straightforward in there in setting it up. And then let me pass this back to Corey. Oh, gotta throw in some jokes. We love a joke. Corey, I'm gonna pass it back to you for the next slide after I met somebody. Okay, so starting that meeting, very easy. On that web page again, you'll see all of your scheduled meetings, and all you have to do is hit start right next to it. Or if you've downloaded the desktop version, which that's what I use. I think both are pretty similar. I just on a lot of Zooms all the time.
You can also, like me right now, since I'm having some computer issues, the Zoom app on, I can't speak for Android, but at least for iPhone, it's pretty easy to use and also pretty stable as well, considering of how many participants. I was on a call with like 140 people the other day, and it was pretty easy on my phone. There, I use a lot of the Zoom features, so it's something that you can easily view. It stopped your video. You can also share your video. It's pretty identical to what you see on the desktop, so it's nice to have in case you're. Although right now nobody's really on the road too much, or going from place to place. But once we do start to go back into our normal lives and aren't always at home, it's something good to have as well. It's again a free app and super easy to use.
Definitely.
Someone in the chat just
yeah, they're saying it's pretty easy on Android too. Just hard to see everyone. Yeah, that is the downside too. When you're on a phone, an iPad, whatever, you don't always get all the. If somebody's sharing the screen and trying to see all the pictures, it can be a lot. All right, so you should all see something similar to this meeting control bar.
If you don't see it on the bottom of your screen, if you hover your mouse towards the bottom, it should show up.
Yeah. So all the way to the left, you've got your mute and your stop video. I have manually muted all of you now, just because we're recording this. But if you just click on that, you can talk as much as you want. Same with the video. I know I always have a cat or somebody walking behind me in the background, so I might need to stop my video for a minute. So those are good just to know. And then in the center, this looks a little different than yours because I am hosting, but you've got some of the same elements here. And invite, share screen, chat, reactions, stuff like that. And we'll go in depth about what those mean and how to do those different actions. And then of course you've got the end meeting if you're hosting. Yeah, and that, as the title suggests, ends a meeting. Okay. So I've got another video here. I apologize if it's a little small. So this is, if you were hosting, this is how you would use that manage participants poll. So at the bottom, I've got that manage participants. And when I clicked that, the sidebar right here opened up that says participants, and it has my name and picture because I was the only person when I was doing this test. You can see at the bottom of that bar, it says mute all, unmute, or more. If you are, like I said before, hosting for a lot of people or you're recording something, you definitely want to use that mute all function. Sorry. Embracing the awkwardness of all Zoom calls is also an important element here. So that's how you would mute everybody. There's also a more function right next to that. And that just opens up things about muting people on entry, different features that if you're hosting, you might want to play around with. But that mute
You can also change the host as well, like in the middle of a meeting. So right now, if Rachel wants to, she can make me the host or, anybody else on the call the host. So if you're doing, multiple people are, wanting to host or do different things, you can always change that after the meeting starts as well. It's not like whoever makes the meeting, that's it. They're the host forever. There's some, flexibility there.
Totally. I think I have one more video for you right now about screen sharing. So again, in that bar at the bottom, it said screen share. It was a little green one for me when it's lit up. This is how I'm sharing my slides right now. Or like Corey said, you could pass it over. If Corey had something he wanted to share, he could do that right now. So I'm just going to show you how to do that real quick. So you would just hit the screen share button and it gives you a couple of options. So it gives you the desktop. So that's any applications that you have open. I'm hosting this right now through Google Slides. So you can see it's just the web browser right there. There's a whiteboard option. I'll show you what that looks like in a second. Basically, you can just draw on it with everybody like a regular whiteboard. You can connect your iPhone or iPad via AirPlay, which I think is really cool because so many times I have something saved to my phone, not my computer. And the same, you could do that with a cable as well. So you just click on the option you want, but important part, that's why I hovered my mouse. You want to be sure that you share computer sound. It's in that bottom left corner. If you're sharing a video with your group or something like that, because if you don't do that, they're not going to hear anything. They'll just see what you wanted to share. So you just click share. And then if you share your desktop, you just open what you wanted to share. So this was the PowerPoint before I had it completed. And everybody would be seeing that exact window. You share some pictures, share whatever you want. And to stop, you just hit that stop button that was right there. And that's about it. Oh, here's the whiteboard function. I think this is really cool and a cool way to work with your team. So anybody can write on it. They're at the top of your screen. I'll pull it up in a second so we can all try. There's an annotate, looks like a little pencil, and you just click that and you can draw on there. It's good for games, brainstorming, really anything. Clearing the drawings, there's a little trash can right there and you can save them, erase them, try out different things. There's a spotlight, so like that laser clicker, if you use that when you present a lot. You can do stamps, you can draw, you can add text if you want to. Really a lot of options on this thing. And like I said before, you can either clear them all or you can choose to save them if you were using it for a group brainstorm or something like that. So that's, did I share from that? Okay, yeah, that's basically all the screen sharing functions. You can also do through files as well, but I find it typically easier just to share from your desktop and have whatever you want open. So let me make sure we're all with us. I'm going to share the whiteboard right now. So here we go. Okay. Do you all have that whiteboard? My screen sharing is paused. Let me make sure that's unpaused. Stop share. So I'm going to my screen share and I'm going to click on the whiteboard function and hit share. So let me unmute you all here so we can do this together.
Hi, yes. Did I know you were looking for Jean?
I've got you all unmuted so we can hear everybody.
Did you call back yet?
So what I want you to do right at the top.
No, she didn't. Okay, I did send her an email to reach out to you. I'm going to send her another email to reach out to.
Okay. At the top of your screen, you should see an annotate button. Once you find that, go ahead and do a little doodle on this board. Mr. Corey, I might need your help in explaining where that is because I just have the whiteboard function at the top. Oh, awesome. Somebody else is drawing on here with me.
Yeah, so if you're on the phone app, you don't even have to click an annotate thing. There's just a
Okay,
little
I'll
pencil that pops
let
up.
her know and then have her reach out to you. So, do what you gotta do.
I'm going to mute everybody again, okay? Oh, I love this. This is awesome. So we, I'm going to continue to mute you. Okay. So yeah, we use this. We do like Pictionary games with people. Like I said, there's a lot of options, and it's really easy to clear it or save it. So I am going to. This is beautiful artwork.
Okay. Yep.
But I am going to clear it. So say goodbye to your wonderful drawing. It's beautiful. But art, you know.
You can also do this in a more like not organized isn't the right word, but like you can have like almost like lined paper, you know, different kind of sheets up there. You know, so it can be like a collaborative like work document as opposed to, you know, just a random drawing document. Just, you know, other ideas we can, you know, can use this feature for. Yeah, and we'll get to some more options of like activities that you could do towards the end of this. This is the last video here. This is just the polling. So if you have the free version, you don't have access to make polls. But if you are on the licensed version, you would just go before the meeting, go to the web browser, and right on the side, you can see there's a tab for meetings. So go to the meeting that you want to go to, that you want to make polls for, and scroll all the way down to the bottom. And you can see I have not created polls at this point. So I'll just follow the prompts and I'll hit add. You launch polls individually. So it's the first one. So I just numbered it poll 1. And you come up with your questions. Have you ever had a poll in Zoom? Well, if this were being launched, you would all say yes, because you participated in the one in the beginning. We're learning so much. So once you put in your options, just save it, and then you'll go back if you want to add another one. I didn't know what questions I was going to be coming up with as I was typing this, and it's very clear by my slow typing there. So there's single choice and multiple choice options, exactly what it sounds like. Single choice allows you to just pick one when you're voting. Multiple choice, you can pick as many as you want. Unfortunately, there's not a write-in option. So if you were doing this to, you know, vote on something and you wanted write-ins, you would just have to figure out another way to go about that. So one way you can do it is, and I mean, if you set it up beforehand, you can have it so that all chat messages go to yourself, the host. So that would be a way to keep it anonymous. Or if it wasn't something that was really, didn't matter if it was anonymous or not, you can do the same thing and just have people write in the chat. So it's just a way of controlling if you want everybody to see it or just you to see it. But if it's something that, as long as you plan ahead, you set that up, and then no one else would see the write-in responses but you. Definitely. So once you're hosting your meeting, there's a polling option right at the bottom if you've made them. And from there, you just click it and you hit launch the poll. At the top, there's a little drop down. So you would pick, if you wanted to edit them, you could go back and do that. If not, just pick which poll that you were launching and simply hit launch. And then everybody can vote. And like Corey said, it is anonymous, so you don't see who, and then you can share the results with everybody. So yeah, this is a cool feature to use for really anything. If you want to do quizzes, myth and fact busting, there's a lot of different applications for it. It's also a way, if you're on a call with 100 people, I mean, you can't really ask them a question and get responses from 100 of them and kind of log it. So it's a way of just getting data in real time in an efficient way. Definitely. I feel like I've been talking a lot. Corey, do you want to talk about some of the things on the screen here? Yeah, sure. So I'm going to kind of work backwards here. Breakout rooms is kind of like one of my favorite features in Zooms. It's literally what it says, breakout rooms. So you can either randomly assign or manually assign different rooms of people. So say we have 29 participants in here. We could assign 3 breakout rooms depending on, you know, why we would want to do that. And it would basically be 3 separate rooms of 10 people. And then they're in their separate rooms. So we wouldn't hear anything in breakout room 2 or 3. We'd only be hearing from the people who are in our specific breakout room. So it's a way to kind of get more direct on a certain topic, you know, or a way to kind of do group activities or things like that. Just an interesting tool to kind of, you know, utilize a webinar in a different format. It's able, you know, kind of like an in-person training on your computer. It's just another feature that you can utilize, and it's super easy. You can do as many rooms as you really want with as many people. You can have a room with 2 people, 50 people, you know, it really is however you want to use it. Virtual backgrounds is a cool feature. I would show you, but my computer's really, really slow right now. The simplest way to do it is on that little screen at the bottom where it says participants, chat, share screen. The little arrow next to start video, you can click choose virtual background. And they have some presets. If not, you really have to download an image and put it, as Rachel is now in our office, which is always kind of funny when she does that. So that's kind of, you know, just a fun thing. Or, you know, for me right now, I'm stationed in my basement, so I have a treadmill behind me. So I got tired of hearing all the treadmill jokes. So I put up a little green sheet as my green screen. And now sometimes I'm in the library, sometimes I'm on the beach, you know, whatever I'm feeling that day. And the raise your hand feature is something that I haven't really used much with. I guess it's kind of like teachers can probably relate to, is they wish people would raise their hands more often, I guess. It's just a way of kind of, you click it in the chat, and it's a way to give the, I just raised my hand as if anybody could see me, a way for the hosts or the presenters to, you know, see that you're looking for their attention. So that's, you know, when we have everybody muted, when there's a lot of people on the call, it's a good way to kind of direct people to do it in a more controlled manner, as opposed to 10 people unmuting and then it's just a bunch of noise, which I'm sure if you've been on more than 2 Zooms with more than 20 or so people, you probably have experienced. So when you click that raised hand feature, the host gets a little like red pop-up type of thing to know that you want their attention.
Yeah, and if you're muting everybody, the raise hand, I believe, is on the free version. So yeah, a good tool to play around with, especially if you are muting everybody. Yeah, I saw Emerald had raised her hand, and you can always put it back down too. But yeah, just a couple of cool tools here. So let's power on. Okay, we've got a few final Zoom tips before we go into some activities that you might be able to use. So if you need to record, make sure that you're doing that when it first begins. A cool feature just to have everybody type their name in the chat for attendance if you're doing a club meeting or something like that where you need a record of who's there. We love the mute all upon entry. We know working from home is very hard. There's dogs, there's kids, there's everything. So if you are recording, mute all upon entry, utilizing waiting.
And also, sorry to cut you off, but also with selecting mute participants upon entry, you can also click and set it up so it records your meetings before it starts, because you know, sometimes you just forget to hit the little record button. So if it's something you know you want recorded, you can always record it, download it, and then if you need to cut it from the intro, you can always do that later. That's really up to you. I would just say if you're someone like me who is sometimes forgetful, just always record from the beginning.
I don't even say, I had paused it when we were waiting in the beginning before everybody was joining. I had to make myself a big resume record note. So I totally feel that, Corey. If you are a Zoom Pro, there are tons of shortcut features that you can enable. The website is, if you just Google Zoom shortcuts, you can find this website, this link rather. There's a lot of like quick mute yourself and unmute tricks for the space bars. So there's a ton of stuff if you're interested in learning that. And I guess like my biggest tip is just to embrace the awkward. Video calls are weird. This might be the first time some people are doing it, but it's okay to acknowledge, hey, you know, this is kind of different. And it's not going to be that same energy. And that's okay. Which is why we're going to show you some activities that you can do to kind of, you know, make it feel like you're more in person. So I am going to open this up before we go to, before we go to some youth engagement activities. We've got some resources here. And like I said, this will be emailed out to you so you can see all of these websites. But I did want to open it up. If you have any questions about Zoom or any tips that you wanted to share that we didn't mention, you can either unmute yourself and share or type it in the chat.
Or if it's something that we did talk about and you just want some more clarification on, I know it's kind of like, if you've never used Zoom before, it's kind of a lot coming at you. Even if you have Zoom before, it still could be a lot. So if there's something you want us to review again, or just something, a general question, please feel free. Either, like Rachel said, type it in the chat, or if you want to unmute, whatever is better for you.
Rachel?
Yeah, hey Marianne.
Hi. I created a Zoom account, the free one, obviously, to engage with my youth. Do I have to create a new one every time I set up a Zoom meeting with them?
You should be able to do it all on the same account. You would need to
have the same web, the link and ID number should be the same, and I could just resend that to them.
Oh, no. Okay. So you need to make.
Yeah, go ahead. You got it.
You need to make a new meeting each time.
Okay.
You don't need to sign up with an account, but you would need to schedule a new meeting. If you have the licensed version, if you are able to get that, you can set a link. So you could, name it Incorruptible Passaic meetings, and you would be able to use the same. But in the free, you have to reschedule each time.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So Marianne, I'm hoping to purchase the purchased one for the the monthly fee, so that you can use it as well.
Okay, great.
So one thing that we
just one more. You're going to say the same thing I'm going to say. So just one thing, heads up, because me, Rachel, and Jamie, we also use the same account. So just one thing to be aware of is that you can't schedule 2 meetings at the same time. So just kind of like a heads up, because we did have that conflict happen once, and then everybody will be in the same meeting, which is good for a fun experience. So
yeah,
just a heads up with that.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Any other Zoom questions, comments, concerns before we look at some youth resources?
Rachel, yeah, I was just concerned about, so for attendance, if I asked everybody to write their name and the agency that they represented in the chat, can I keep a copy? How do I get a copy of that?
Let me see. I think.
Is there a way to do that?
Or do you know that? I feel like there's a log of it, but I haven't had access.
Is that the only way?
There might be from the back way. The chat will be there. So maybe not the easiest way, but you can always scroll to the beginning. Just like before you would take the attendance, say like nobody type in chat except for attendance, and then attendance would be over, and then it'd kind of be like regular conversation again. So you'd have a clear spot of where it would end. And then you can kind of look back that way. That's one thing that we haven't exactly found the most ideal way, because we've struggled with that as well in terms of attendance, especially when you're on a call with, a good amount of people. It gets, hard to find out that attendance.
Heather, I just see a comment. Heather said, click the 3 buttons on the right and save chat.
Oh, yep.
And save chat. Heather.
I'm not sure what format that downloads. I would assume it's like an easy to read format there, but yeah.
It says show in folder, and it shows up. Oh yeah, I can see. Thank you, Heather. Look
at Heather.
That's how to do stuff here. Oh wow, the wind is going crazy here. Okay, that helps. So can everybody please put their name in the chat for me so that I know that you're there? I've been trying to check you off, but there are some people that I can't see who you are. So I would appreciate it if we just took a quick second and if everybody just put their name in the chat. That would help me. Thank you. And hello to everybody. Sorry. I didn't get a chance to say hi. We haven't seen a lot of people in a long time, but I'm glad that you were able to make this training.
Me too.
Hi, everybody. I see all the names coming in.
Oh, hi, Linda.
Oh, Linda. Dolores, Kathy. Kathy number 2. Thank you. Thank you. There's Donna. Emerald O'Brien. Julie. Thank you for taking this time. Sorry, Rachel.
No apologies. Yes.
Okay, you can continue as they keep putting it on. That way, I'll get it.
Perfect. Were there any other questions or comments? And if they come up later, you can, always type in the chat or unmute yourself. But were there any other concerns before we see some resources?
I know there were some concerns about keeping privacy issues and like with people hacking in or something. Is there a way to guarantee that? Is that just with the password, or I just want to make sure?
Yeah, a few things. I would definitely enable the password if that's a concern for you. I would enable the waiting room feature so you can approve people before. And then the biggest thing, the way people are getting this is if the links are posted publicly. So if you could send it out in email instead of like posting a link on your Instagram or social media.
Yeah, I only email people the link, so that's all it's been doing. So
yeah, I think the password in the waiting room is good because like the waiting room, you'll see it's basically like you're working security at the front door. You're checking ID and making sure that this person is someone you want to be on this call. So that those are the two most efficient ways that we are currently aware of.
Yeah, and then if you do need to kick somebody out of your Zoom meeting for whatever reason, when you're the host, the same way that you kind of see your carousel of people now, all you have to do is hover over whoever the person that you would want to get rid of. There's the 3 little dots. You click on that and you can either, you can make them a host, remove them, rename them, put them in the waiting room, whatever you need to do. So there's a lot of security measures, and then hopefully you don't have to remove anybody from a meeting, but if you do, that's how you'd go about it.
There was a question there from Jessica. She said she saw Q&A separate box in another Zoom. Is that for a paid account only?
I believe so, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. All the bells and whistles, with the exception of like the breakout room and annotating, like the whiteboard feature, most of those features, the special ones, are for the licensed paid account. Okay. If anybody has any questions that just come up, feel free to type in the chat. So let's look at a couple of things. Okay, engaging youth and adults in online meetings. I found this really cool report that I sent to Shireen, so it'll get out to all of you. And it's from Spark and the Search Institute. I don't know if anybody's familiar. I look at the Search Institute stuff all the time. I think they're fabulous. And they let out this report with Spark about youth and making friends online and in person. So if you're working with young people, this was really interesting to me. About half of all young people have built online only friendships. So, right from the beginning, they've never met this person. And I think that's really cool. They know how to use all of the technology that we're struggling to learn right now. And they know how to make connections online. Half of them are doing this already. We know social media kind of has some downfalls, right? But I don't want to dwell on those. I want to look at all of the really cool, great things that social media can do and online conferencing like this can do. You can connect at any place and any time. Better communication, some youth said. They felt like it's easier to communicate with their friends over social media, which is really interesting to me. You can get to know each other better, some of them said. Stay connected, plan your time together. So there's a lot of pros, right, to having all this technology. But the report was also saying, we still need to remember that while the young people that we're working with are like the guides for the cyber world, this is still a pandemic for them, right? It's interrupted, how they interact with people and friends too. So they might know how to communicate through multiple platforms and online, but that communication has always been supplemented by in-person contact, right? So them too, they're also struggling with all of this. And I think that's important to acknowledge. So it leads us to this question of how do you connect with them then as a stable, caring resource for them while being at least 6 feet away, right? So this report that will get sent out to you, they had a couple pages for teachers, youth program leaders, parents, youth, and what you can do to reach these different domains of expressing care and challenging growth and providing support, power, and expanding possibilities. So you'll get a chance to, I won't bore you and read all of this right now, but it is really, really helpful, I think. And I love that they broke it down into, so many different roles for teachers, youth programmers, adults, etc. So here's a short little checklist that will also be sent out too, that breaks down based on those domains. How, during this crisis, how do we build up those domains? I really liked the share power section on the top right. So definitely asking young people what rules and norms that your group should follow as you work remotely, right? You might need to form some new guidelines if you're used to meeting in person and now all of a sudden we're all trying to talk over each other in a conference call. We might need to establish new guidelines. So giving them a voice and choice in shaping, how our group is functioning now is really important. Letting them design or lead the virtual activities. There's so many times I'm amazed by what, the youth we work with come up with. So definitely ask them if they have anything they want to do. And expanding possibilities. Sorry, somebody just joined. There's so much here for you to check out. This document will be sent out to you, but check out the Search Institute online. They have a lot of great resources. Okay, so how do we translate all of those concepts into games, activities, or things we can do through Zoom with our youth or adult groups? This is the question. And I'm going to show you a couple of things that we've come up with. But first, I want to show you the breakout room feature. So I am going to put you in breakout rooms. So you'll see a little thing that says join breakout room. I've got to minimize my screen. I apologize. It's all about embracing that awkwardness, right? Okay, so there's 26 participants. I'm going to put you into 6 different rooms. So you should click that, and then I will bring you back in, let's say, 2 minutes. What I want you to discuss is if you have different things, activities, games that you do with your groups online or different ideas, share those ideas with your group, and then we'll come back and share them to the larger group. So here you go. When you're done, you can leave your breakout room. There will be an option to do that in there. So here we go. I'm going to open all rooms, and you should get the chance to join those rooms, and I'll give you 3 minutes. Okay, just waiting for everybody to come on back. Oop. My goodness. Some of you are back. We're just waiting for a few more. Must be good conversation going on in those other rooms. Okay, I see everybody's coming back now. The time has ended for them. All right, awesome. So yeah, before we share your answers, I want to show you, this is what I saw. So I assigned those breakout rooms at random, and I could broadcast a message to all. That's how I sent you that chat, and just hitting close all rooms at the end. So pretty, again, straightforward with that once you find the option in your taskbar. So tell me, either unmute yourself or type in the chat. What was your group talking about? What were some of the things you've come up with or have done in the past?
Tanae was kind enough to share what exactly was the purpose of the breakout room. I've done a host of Zooms and always wondered, like, what is the breakout room? So now I understand it. Thank you, Tanae.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, and there's so many different things you could do for it. So Corey and I were on a Zoom earlier where at the beginning they just had 5 images on the screen, and they said, we want you to pick whichever image is how you're feeling right now, and then they put us into breakout rooms so we could do a little icebreaker. Or if you have a tobacco team and an alcohol team and an opioid task force, you could break out into those specific rooms. So a lot of cool ways to use it.
Yeah, especially right now, it's kind of maybe not so difficult as the right term, but it's not easy to have small group discussions and small group workspaces. So this is one of, Zoom's easy features that kind of enables that and allows us a way to do that, especially, for groups with youth. Sometimes they might feel more comfortable in a group of 4 or 5 than in a large group of 30 to kind of express themselves and their ideas. So again, I think that's a really cool feature that most people can utilize for their benefit.
Mm-hmm. And I did this one at random, but if you're working with a group and specifically, I don't want these 2 in a group together, you can assign people to groups. So, I see in the chat, Heather said, we've used Zoom for paint night, our team meetings, meeting with community members, parent support groups. That's awesome. I want to do a Zoom paint night. How many breakout rooms are possible? I think it depends on the number of participants, but I know you can at least go up to like 20. I can follow back on that, and I'll email Shireen how many breakout rooms so she can send that out with the resources. Okay. Anybody else?
I wanted to let you know we were talking about how there's been a lot of youth doing challenges, and like we could post like, oh, want to do an art challenge or you want to do a Lego challenge. I know that's more for the younger kids, but it engages them without making serious talk, like about some, you engage them and do that.
Yeah, I love that.
One other feature that you can do in breakout rooms is you can how we showed earlier, how you can share your screen. In each individual breakout room, someone can also share their screen. So last week I was on a call, and one person in each work group had a Google Doc, and they opened the Google Doc on their screen, and everybody was allowed to kind of work on that document and edit it in real time in their 4 or 5 person group, while the other groups were working on their, what they had to work on. So pretty much everything that you can do, maybe not everything, but a lot of things you can do in the larger Zoom room, you can also do in the breakout rooms, which is good to know.
Mm-hmm. Ari, I have a question. Actually, in our breakout room, Linda tried to share her screen, and I think she was trying to show us the whiteboard, and we weren't able to see it. So maybe if we can review that so we can see how we do that in a breakout room, maybe that would be helpful.
Yeah, I mean, it should work the same way. Rachel, is there a way for us to, can you make a breakout room and put all of us in there? Just for
yeah. I think too, something that happens sometimes if you don't have the newest Zoom, that could be an issue too if you don't have the newest update. But what I will do, I will make another breakout room. So bear with me for a second. I'm going to recreate here, and I'm going to say, oh look, I can see how many rooms. Well, I can go past 20 rooms somebody was asking that. So let's see. Okay, I'm making one breakout room here. So we're all gonna jump in here so I can see if we can screen share. Bear with us for a second. Recreate the room. I'm gonna open this one room, and I will join it. I'm in the breakout room with you. Hey. So I see the share screen at the bottom in our task manager. So I'm going to click on that. Let's see. And I'm going to click the whiteboard feature. That's what we were trying to get to. Does everybody see that? You can either give me a thumbs up or shaking head. Yeah. Okay. I'm not sure why it wasn't working then for whoever was trying. My best guess is it's not the most updated version of Zoom, because that happens to me with like virtual backgrounds and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm sorry, I don't have a full answer because it could be a number of things. All right, I'm going to leave this breakout room and get us back, maybe. All right, turn to main session. All right, most of us coming back here. Let me share the screen again with you, but this time a PowerPoint. Okay.
Before we go back, Linda had a comment that she posed in the previous chat room saying that we didn't see faces. Linda, the reason for that is because none of us were sharing our cameras at the moment. I just started sharing my webcam now, so it wasn't an error, just, yeah.
Yeah, to start, if you, on that bottom little toolbar at the bottom, you would just click start video to share your video.
Okay, we have most of the people back in here. So for sake of your time, I'm gonna head on to some examples. This document, again, will be emailed out to everybody. So this is something that we put together for the Incorruptible Us groups, but share it wide and far. You know, riff on it, let it inspire you. There's a lot of different ideas in here for things you can do on online Zooms. So introductions, you know, starting off with an icebreaker question, doing different types of check-ins. I like bringing your homework, so, you know, having them do something and bring it back. If you know your group really well and you don't always need an icebreaker, you can make it interesting, go a less conventional route with what meme are you feeling like, you know, whatever kind of fits the dynamics of your group. So again, a bunch of different ones here. 2 nouns and a verb. It's like 2 truths and a lie. Bingo. I've seen a lot of like online bingo cards on Instagram and stuff, but making a bingo board for your meetings has been, oh, Shireen, that's so cute. Sorry, I get distracted by animals. Adorable. Yeah, so you could make a bingo card for any number of prompts. So, you know, somebody said, sorry, I was on mute, or the host's camera freezes, or something like that. And you can just Google bingo generator, and there's a ton of templates for you to use. Can you hear me now? Another good icebreaker. It's a little too real when we're on Zoom meetings, because sometimes you can't hear people, but charades, stuff like these games here, the charades and the can you hear me now, are really good things to do in the beginning, because it will encourage your participants, your youth, to turn on their cameras, which I know can make it feel a lot more normal, even though it's kind of awkward. Let's see what else we have. Draw fast. Another, you could use the whiteboard for this one. We've also have a website that lists out here, how well do you know me, different peanut butter jelly activities. I'm not going to read through all of them in detail, because you will get this document. Pictionary, we did this, Corey and I did this with our Incorruptible state board the other night. It worked out really well. You just use the chat and you privately message somebody, here's your word, and then they can start drawing and everybody can guess in the chat. And there's a good opportunity to make it educational, right? So I think when we did it with Incorruptible Us, we did popcorn lung as one of the Pictionary prompts. So don't be afraid to adapt or adjust. Raise your hand if, another good activity. Again, encourages that, you know, webcam use, scavenger hunts, ranking it, show and tell. A lot of these are so deceptively simple, but it's like, oh yeah, that can work in an online format. So if you do have anything that comes to your head, or if your teens in your group suggest something, I explore it, because there's definitely a way to adapt it to an online setting. we also have some hours for, inspiration for social hours. Just because social distancing is a thing doesn't mean you have to socially isolate. You can still connect with people online. I think Heather had said that with the paint nights that they did before, it's different types of activity like that. Just fun ways to get everybody together and feel like a little less alone in all of this. Yeah, and let this inspire you. There's 10 million more things. Pinterest is popping these days with different suggestions. So do we have any questions, any lingering thoughts you want to share with the group about Zoom, youth engagement, anything we can help you with?
I guess a question to everybody would be, is there a follow-up training you feel you need after this training? I'm not sure if you got everything you wanted out of this presentation, but that all depends on everybody's level of expertise, I would assume. So if there's anything that you feel you need after this, why don't you just put it in the chat, or you can just openly ask and see if that's something we could accommodate.
I have a question. I actually put the little hand up for a while, but I think it was missed. But
oh no, I see it right now. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I was actually kind of curious how it would pop up to you, if it would like come up or you'd have to like actively pay attention to see it. But
it did pop up in the beginning. I thought you had done it when I was like explaining it. I didn't realize. I'm so sorry.
Oh no, I did it a long time ago when you were explaining it just to see the feature, how it worked. But then I pressed it again and then it turned it off. But then actually it was when we just came out of the breakout rooms and then we came back in. The first time I was in a breakout room, I didn't know that you could just actively leave. I thought you had to wait for it to time out and then bring you out of it. But then I saw that there's a button you can press and it says leave and go back to the main session, or leave, like you can leave. Yeah. I just wanted to check if everybody else knew that they have that option too, and they don't have to wait for the time to be, automatically bring them back in.
That's a very good point. Thank you.
I knew that.
Well, also for the kids too, if it could mention to the kids, you guys don't have to wait for it to time out. You can come back into the main session, just click this button.
Yeah. I put your picture up there, so it just popped up like a little notification right there. But I had a million things on my screen open, and I was in full present mode. I think there's probably a way to activate a sound or something when somebody does that, but I'm not totally sure. I'll delete your picture.
Useful with that, I'm wearing another hat, is having a co-presenter, and the co-presenter kind of manage the participants or manage the chats. Just nudge the presenter like, oh, this person asked a question or whatever. That's extremely helpful. That allows the presenter to focus on the presentation while also attending to everybody's needs. Also, I have a question about the smaller group room. If we could, as participants, decide which room we want to be in, or if it always has to be assigned by the presenter. That's just a question that I have.
So let's see. I don't know if there's a way to let them choose, but yeah, you can either make it random or assign them. But let me take a screenshot of this so you can see. Oh, it's not gonna let me. Oh my, I'm getting a phone call. Okay. Sorry, 1 second. Okay. Put a weird screen share in here. So let me make this bigger. So yeah, you can move them. Can you guys see this screen share? Okay. Yeah. It's all done either automated or by you. But once people are in the rooms, you can move them if you want to. Because I know there was somebody who was in a room by themselves for a while, and I was like, oh no. So you can do that. You can change the rooms once they've joined, but I don't know of a way to let them choose.
Okay. Thank you.
How do I share the screen so they can see what's on my screen?
Yeah. So you should have a meeting control panel that looks a little, when you're hosting, it'll look like this.
Okay.
It's either probably at the bottom of your screen if you hover. And there's that share screen button.
Oh,
right
yes, I see it. Yep.
And then from there, you would just select if you wanted to share. Here, let me show you here. If you wanted to share your desktop, a whiteboard, whatever that might be.
Okay, thank you.
Is there a way that the host can stop someone from sharing a particular screen? Like if someone tries to come in and share something that's not relatable or whatever to the meeting, can the host stop it?
Yes. So it would, in the same way that you can kind of kick people out of rooms, you can take back control of a screen. So Corey, could you share a screen for me real quick or something? Because I think you all have the capability at this point to share.
Yeah, you would have to stop sharing yours right now. Otherwise, it wouldn't let anybody.
So I'm going to stop my share. Corey, I invite you to share whatever.
Okay, hold on. I'm on my phone, so it's gonna, hold on.
Or if Shireen or somebody else wants to just hit share screen and pull up.
All right, can anybody see my share?
Yep, Corey's got it. That's beautiful, Corey.
Thank you.
So I have right next to, I can take a screenshot so I can show you. Okay, I'm gonna stop. Ooh, I can do a side-by-side mode, or I can stop sharing. So I've kicked Corey off, and let me just show you what the control looked like to do that. Sorry, I keep copying and pasting here. Ooh. So you can see the top of Corey's counter there. Right, there's a view options right next to it if you're the host, and I can just stop their sharing. Does everybody see that?
Yeah. Thank you so much. That's very informative.
Yeah, as the host, you can basically kick anybody off or take control back at any moment. So
is that always going to be in red so you can find it right away?
Most of the things that are like end or stop or cancel are highlighted in red.
Okay, thank you.
Put my other pictures back. Okay. Cool. Anything else? If you do have questions, feel free to email us if you need more resources or anything. But you'll all be getting our web engagement documents, so you can see those different activities, the report on Good Friends Online and in person, and the Search Institute's checklist for how to build up the different domains of healthy relationships, and then a copy of the PowerPoint slides.
And Rachel? Sorry.
I have a question.
Yeah, what's up?
So before you end, I'm very curious about the virtual background. I've given about maybe 8 or 9 of these presentations via Zoom, and for the life of me, I cannot get the virtual background, even though I know where it is, I know where it says, how to do the settings.
Mm-hmm.
I can't get like that.
Corey, I feel like you might know more, but for what I've heard from people, it's in the newest Zoom update. So if you don't have the newest version of Zoom, you might not be able to access it. I don't know.
So when you say, hold on, when you say that, so on your screen, when you click, you see choose virtual background or no?
I do. I have the laptop up, and I was trying to do it while I had you on the phone. So I'm in my other laptop. I'm already as if I'm going to be hosting a new video. A new meeting, and stop video. When I go to choose virtual background, it's up now. So you're right.
Corey, you've got
there you go.
Magic.
So you have to have the newest upgrade. You're right. Okay, thank you.
No problem. And depending on your computer, it might not work as well as some others. Like I know my
mine works.
computer for my work computer doesn't have the best camera, so I had to set up like a green screen, which for me is I literally have a green sheet behind me, because otherwise, you know, it just doesn't work properly. So if it doesn't work properly, then it could just be your computer or your camera settings. But you'll play around with that and figure out what works.
Oh yeah, no, it works well now. Thank you. You're right. You have to have the latest download.
So, Rachel, I was going to ask, you recording this.
Yes.
So do you get a link afterwards? How are you able to share the recording, which I would like to send out with all the attachments after this meeting?
So
how does that happen? Yeah.
For us, and I recommend this if you have it too, upload directly to your Zoom cloud. If you have the licensed version, it has unlimited storage because these files are very large. So when I end this meeting, it'll have like a rendering screen, and I just need to let it go through its entire thing. Don't exit out that if you're ever trying to do that. And then so it won't give you a link necessarily. I usually upload then the file to YouTube or something like that to be shared out that way.
Oh, okay.
Doreen, if we do have a paid account, we can save the recording to our cloud. So depending on how busy Zoom is at the moment, their staff is actually the ones that process the Zoom recording, and then we get a notification, usually through the email that the account is set up, saying where the recording is. And it's saved into the cloud, so everybody who has access to that account can see it. There's also a separate link that can just be shared with anyone, whether they have access to that account or not, just to view. So
that's good to know.
That's great. Thank you, Andrea. She's had a little bit more experience than us here. Okay. So is there anything else? Okay. Raza, I know you're saying something, but I can't hear you.
I said, hooray, this was good, hooray.
Oh, thank you.
This was very helpful. Look, everybody is saying thank you.
I wish you the best in your Zooming.
Those of you who celebrate Easter, have a wonderful Easter. Be safe, be healthy.
Happy Passover.
Have any other suggestions for what you might want, any other trainings that you might want to learn about, just email me, let me know. And I'm working with LMTI and Rachel's team to do additional trainings. So thank you guys, and we'll see and hear from you soon. Thank you so much, Rachel and Cora.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Happy
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Okay.
Great
I'll
job.
have to experience it myself. I hope I can get this done.
Everyone stay safe.
Yes, you too. Thank you.
Okay, let's get out of here.